2020, Exam 2, Question 6, Data Analysis. So we need to find the difference, that means subtraction, of the mean height of women in their 20s and the mean height of women in their 80s. So it's this number, the 20s, minus this number in the 80s. They're not asking any particular direction on this number, so it's just 167.1 minus 156.7. Easy done on the calculator, 10.4 centimeters. I don't think you have to write the unit, the number will do. That's the easy bit. Okay, in part B, we need to describe the association between strength and direction. Now, the strength can be a bit tricky, but look, they're never going to do moderate because moderate can be quite open to interpretation unless they've given you some values. I don't see any values, so it is going to be strong. It's not really looking very weak, so that's why you go with strong, and it's sloping down, so it's negative. Now, sometimes people can talk themselves out of an answer, and a lot of people did, and so don't add any more words. Strength means strong, moderate, weak, or no association, and direction is positive or negative. Add more words, they can say they're confused, they don't know which one applies to which, and then you just lose the marks. So you could have the word strong and negative, and then go linear, and then lose the mark, all the marks. So don't do that. Now, next one is to try and find, they've given you 2 points. It says using these 2 points. So don't try anything else. Don't look at any other data. Interestingly enough, that point isn't on the graph. I mean, there we go, fixed. You're welcome. Now, you could do that thing where you're trying to do rise over run, where you do that thing like y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'll just clean that up a bit. But you don't need to. And then it gets tricky because if you're trying to work out the slope, once you've got the slope, you then have to multiply the slope by 20 and then subtract it off the 168. But it's a negative slope, so it'll become a positive. That sounds confusing. But here is one simple trick to help you out. So you can go to your stats and put in these 2 points. So you've got 2 points, stick them in your calculator, and then you go list 1, list 2, and then you get your equation. And it said we want 3 significant figures. So the first number is the A, which is 171.38462. That's easy to see, that's 171. The 1 doesn't change. And then we've got minus 0.169. Notice that this 0 is just a placeholder 0, so you only count zeros as significant figures if they're in between other numbers. And that's the easiest way to do it. I mean, you don't have to do any other fancy extrapolation or anything. Just use your calculator, put in 2 points, and get it to do the work. I mean, you paid $200 or whatever for the calculator. And that's the easiest way to do it, rather than doing this, y2 minus y1. Yeah, go away. Now they're saying that they've given us a residual plot, this thing here, and we can see the clear pattern there, a frowny face. Clear pattern means the assumption of linearity is incorrect, so you need to do a transform, and that's what it says. Apply an appropriate transform to the variable mean age, and then find the equation and write the values of the intercept and slope to 4 significant figures. All right, so first of all, what transform is the appropriate transform? Now this is the original data from before. You can see that clear pattern there. And just remember that this line here is this line here. And so any of these distances here, that's exactly the same as the distance here. That's just those vertical distances. So remember, the residual is the vertical distance. And then you need to have somewhere in your notes the circular transformations. And you can see this shape here is this shape here, and that's why it's better to look at the original data to see where to get that transform from. And it says we got y squared and x squared, but we know mean age is actually the x. This is the x equals that, and that's the y equals that. So we don't do the y squared transformation, we are just doing an x squared transformation, and that's how we know all that. So just clear all that up and get rid of it. Whee! Now, having all that, we've now got to take the data here and stick it into the calculator to get that equation, and then do all the appropriate steps. So first of all, data into your calculator, list 1, list 2, and it's always a good habit to write that in. So that's list 1, that's list 2, and then list 3 is going to be the mean age, brackets, squared. Put a brackets around the whole word sort of thing. So list 3 is mean age squared, which is actually list 1. So that equals list 1 squared. So that's what we're going to do. So you had to click down here and then start typing here because someone thought that was the smart way to program a calculator. And you get those values. So now we've got our list 3 values, which is list 1 squared. And then when we go to the calc regression linear reg, X list is list 3. Y list is list 2, so remember to change that list there, and then you press OK, and then we've got our values for our A and BX. Remember, they prefer that format, so make sure you're clicking this button here and putting yourself into Y equals A plus BX. So remember our Y, we can't write Y, so don't write Y. Y is mean height, so we're going to say mean height equals, now 4 significant figures on this A number is 167.9, because you cut off here, the 8 looks at the 6 and goes up to 9. So we've got 4 significant figures, 1679, that's 4 significant figures. And then we look at our next number, which is going to be the B. So it's a minus, because you've got the minus there, so it's not a plus. And then 1.621, and you can see you've got this e neg 3, so you could technically do times 10 to the neg 3 and then times brackets mean age squared. You've got to squeeze that in, sorry, but perhaps it's good to get into the practice of converting this into a decimal. Now remember, you've got a negative 3 there. Let me just make that a bit clearer. So negative 3 means negative means the number's going to get smaller, and you move the decimal place 3 times. So you could actually write it as 167.9 minus 0.001621 times mean age squared. And hopefully write that neater when you've got a bit more there's a lot to do in this question. But lots of little tricks there. Make sure you've got your circle of transformations in there. Make sure you can handle the idea of this e neg 3 kind of stuff up here. People have trouble with that.